Tarlov is back again with a vengeance as the lone liberal on Fox News The Five. Let's watch her absolutely destroy her MAGA co-hosts and shut down their attempts to lie about everything from mass deportations to DEI. Hey you, yes, you. We now have a Substack website where you can help support the channel. For just $8 a month, you can get daily articles exposing the chaos in Trump's first 100 days, a weekly podcast, and other exclusive perks, all while helping the channel grow and defend democracy. This is something that's not just very important to me, but enables us to get our message out to the most amount of people while also being just a genuine passion that I would love to pursue. So for those who have been wondering how to support the channel, how to help us grow, you can sign up now at the first link in our description. Thank you, and let's get back to the video.
He showed up with one message: it's DEI's fault. Then Hegseth says DEI, then Duffy says DEI, and then JD Vance, maybe playing a little bit of cleanup, says, well, if it wasn't DEI in terms of the pilots it's very stressful to work with people when we have these kinds of DEI policies. DEI is not a scapegoat for everything. And then he had a campaign rally in the middle of what should have been a somber occasion. And these DEI policies were put in place in 2013. He had every opportunity through his first administration to revoke them if they thought they were terrible.
So for those of you who might not have kept up, Donald Trump came out after this horrific plane crash and said that it was DEI that caused it, and he knows because he has common sense. Actual quote from Trump. You can watch the press conference yourself. This was after he immediately jumped to blame the pilot on social media, and MAGA, of course, stayed silent, probably in hopes that it would end up being a woman or a person of color as the pilot so they could say it was DEI and not Trump, because with Biden, of course, it's you instantly blame him, his policies, you blame DEI. With Trump, though, it's we gotta wait and see and learn more before we jump to rash conclusions. Not to mention, Trump signed a bunch of executive orders. He carried out mass firings and proclaimed to the American people that he ended DEI, that DEI was over. So was he lying then, or is he lying now when he says that DEI caused it? Turns out the helicopter pilots had hundreds of hours of experience. The captain had over 1,000 hours, and they were 2 white males and a white female. The plane pilot had multiple years experience flying and was hired under Trump's first term. So Trump's actions since taking office clearly played a larger part, which we'll get into here.
And when you talk about staffing issues, sure, the control room is a problem, but you know what else is a problem? That there's no head of the FAA, because Michael Whitaker resigned for months. Elon Musk has been trying to push him out since September, when he said you should pay a $600,000 fine for SpaceX, that they're failing to follow the license requirements, constantly on him. He knows he's going to get fired. He resigns. We have no head of the Coast Guard, and they have in the first week in office gutted this key aviation safety advisory committee.
Coast Guard.
I'm talking about all the people that take care of us, that make sure that you are safe. They are trying to gut that to install
Biden was
people
taking care of us? Biden couldn't even show up in Palestine for a year.
That's my favorite game that you play. It's not going to work for Really? I'm talking about the president. You won. And now I'm talking about the president and the people he put into office.
Again, when something like this happens under Biden, I think the bridge in Baltimore is a great example of this, right? With the boat collapse. When MAGA instantly blamed Biden, his staffing decisions, they call the Democratic mayor in Baltimore a DEI hire. But now when it happens under Trump, they aren't calling for accountability from him or his administration. It's still, well, what can we look at to blame Biden? These people just want Trump to remain on the pedestal that they placed him on 8 years ago as the cult leader, and they won't allow any responsibility to be taken by him from his actions. The head of the FAA resigned because of Elon and Trump's threats, and they would have just fired him if not. That's what the threats were. On Trump's second day, he then fired the head of the TSA, fired the entire Security Advisory Aviation Committee, froze hiring for air traffic controllers despite it being a position of need and staffing being something that played a part in this crash, and then fired the top 100 FAA security advisors. The fact that MAGA would pretend that this has nothing to do with the security lapse that led to the crash, and instead it's because Biden hired black people, is not only insanely racist, but insanely stupid.
So an offshore immigrant prison that has never held more than 800 people is going to house 30,000. Seems unlikely, but maybe. Also, Tom Homan and Trump saying it's going to be the housing for the criminals. About 50% of the 7,300 that they have gotten rid of are actually criminals, and we're even detaining Americans. Did you see this story in Milwaukee? A mom, a grandmother, and a toddler were speaking Spanish. God forbid, get taken in. They had to show IDs and birth certificates to get out their Puerto Rican.
People make mistakes. But we're totally behind what's happening even when a mistake is made. We're not like Democrats that go, oh, well, the mistake is the policy itself.
No, come on.
Okay, then why do they do it with DEI? How come when a mistake is made, MAGA instantly blames DEI as a policy and calls it a failure and blames it for everything and that it needs ended? Do these people even think before they speak? Do they realize how often they contradict themselves to just try to go with the wind and whatever will give them the moral high ground in that second? Also, rounding up a group of people based on ethnicity and placing them in a camp. It's almost like the left wasn't wrong for the Hitler comparisons. I wonder when MAGA will apologize for that one. They're just going to cheer it on. But yes, MAGA deportations are every bit as chaotic as we on the left promise. We were right again, like always. And what they're not telling you on the right is the price on top of all this chaos. While we're only deporting criminals at around a 50% clip right now, the others being non-criminals, and even detaining multiple Americans in this pursuit, including a veteran who gave his life to defend this, or gave his life, who served in most of his life to defend this country, and now a family, including a mother and a child, that are American citizens. This is also going to cost us billions of dollars a year just to do this. All while Trump plans to lower corporate taxes, lower top marginal tax rates. So ask yourself, if all the top earners and all the top corporations will be paying less in taxes, but the deportations will be raising the tax burden, who ends up paying that cost then?